Putin says that he is ready to launch nuclear weapons if anyone dares to threaten Russia. Now, the timing of all of this is absolutely insane. The world is talking about TikTok. They're talking about, of course, the battle in the Middle East. They're talking about Taiwan, the Philippines, China, Japan, collapse of human birth rates. Everybody is talking about going to Mars. Of course, Twitter trending is full of just random objects of crazy circus events. And of course, now Putin is threatening nuclear weapons. Many people are probably not going to pay attention to this, but it is pretty unnerving given the actual situation going on in Russia. Some of the events that have gone down over the last, I would say, 72 hours, strikes in Russia. And then, of course, the news that NATO is now manning the guns. It says that Vladimir Putin has said that Russia is ready to resort to nuclear weapons if need be. In a chilling interview with state-owned television yesterday at the Kremlin, he said that the doctrine allows for the use of nuclear attacks if there is perceived danger to the country's statehood, sovereignty, or independence. From a military technical point of view, we are, of course, ready, the Russian president told TV presenter Dmitry Kiselev at RIA Novosti. It says nuclear missiles, are constantly in a state of combat readiness. He stressed, however, that he has never felt a need to use nuclear arms in his war against Ukraine. Asked if Kiselev is such a thought has occurred to him, he simply replied, no, but why? So as far as what is happening with everything that's over there, they've already hit their actual requirements. As part of their doctrine, the same doctrine he mentioned, they actually have rules of why they would resort to a nuke or a tactical nuke. One of such rules, and there were some specific ones there, like if they destroyed more than 3 airfields or 6 airfields, if they destroyed more than 3 large warships. I think it's the number's actually up to like 24, but 3 of those. Now there is a 3rd large warship that just got hit. So people are like, well, hopefully that's not like if these 3 happen, then boom, it's an automatic. Obviously that's not the case because they haven't pulled the trigger yet. But with the rest of tonight's news, you'll understand why this is actually something that people should at least keep in mind and be have a mind of preparation for it. So we're going to talk about this and much, much more on tonight's show. So stick around and make sure to subscribe if you're not. Especially in the next coming weeks, we're going to have some absolutely insane shows coming out. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the all notifications button as well. Just click on that little bell. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. Moscow, what a crazy looking city. If you look from a top view down satellite, it's like one big, this is kind of crazy to think about it. It looks like a blast radius. Like if you were to have the right size bomb, this thing would be literally cleared out, almost like you could have the streets there. Look at how crazy perfect of a circle that is. That's just nuts. hopefully we never see a day where that happens. Dex, as far as what Putin is saying, how this fits into the global kind of position here is this is at the same time as we have all sorts of distractions going on. It's almost back page at this point.
It sort of is. And, for as much as Dimitri and others have run their mouth about this topic over and over again, this was a pretty important interview. It wasn't the Tucker interview, but it was another interview with Putin, not that he does many of these. And it came up, and he talked about their readiness, the fact that they, keep them in a state of readiness, especially because they're in the middle of a conflict. He also claims, look, the U.S. has them too. They have 5,400. He said the U.S. has 5,400 nukes, but that doesn't mean they're going to, launch and create a nuclear war just because they have them. He was sort of saying that means me too. But I would also, say the fact that he's bringing this up and talking about it is also important to understand that he claims they have their own strategy, their own rules. It's all written down. They know exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to do it should they have to engage based on any of those categories being crossed. That invokes them retaliating or striking. So, and he also makes the claim in that interview that his equipment, his nuclear capabilities are far superior than the U.S. because of his speed.
Yeah, there was a couple of experts that made comments lately that go against what many people kind of look at Russia. Russia has been made out to look like they're just some, half-assed military or something. Some of the experts that have come forward, these are normally experts 5 or 6 years ago that would have said, the U.S. will kick their ass, said that they would actually give them a lot of trouble. Now, it's pretty widely accepted, and I think it is a fact, that if Russia went head to head with the U.S. without blowing each other out of the water with nukes, that the U.S. would win. But the big problem is right now is that if they team up with China, that is a different story. They believe that they would even then still have a problem. But they do believe that Russia and China could beat, alongside with their allies, they could beat NATO and the USA. But no one can beat NATO and the USA alone. That's something they've done wargaming and simulations for years, and no matter how eccentric they made the simulation, the US and NATO always won, which makes us feel great. But right now, you have all of our adversaries through one event or another now becoming best friends. One of years ago, before they said that they were unlimited partners, there was basically the studies and surveys done, and they said, well, that basically the only way that they would be able to win is if they, teamed up with China. And at the time, they were having a lot of problems, and they couldn't foresee that happening, right? They were like, but that would take a lot for them to be really, really close. They've done business together, but they wouldn't be like that. Now they are considered no limits partners. Why is that? My big concern is not anything in the news cycle that's, the big news. My concern is why all of the chatter, why all of these folks are doing bunkers. They have to know something. And I hate to say it, but it's like when people freak out when you say that. Look at all of the rich and famous. They are all building bunkers. Companies like Atlas have just skyrocketed in busyness because they're making bunkers in multiple countries all over the world. Everyone is doing the same thing. Gold has spiked. Bitcoin has spiked. All of these things are lining up to say that the upper echelon of people, they're making huge moves, and they know something. It's not like a guess. Like, they know something and we don't. What do they know? We don't. It is they know and we don't. They know something is coming. Every person you see building a private bunker or installation or this or that, they're connected people. Jerry Rig Everything is another guy who did, and that guy's well-connected, very popular YouTuber that has a wide variety of audience. He's not a divisive channel at all. He does like tech teardowns and stuff. That guy's connected with a lot of people. He just made a bunker in his backyard. The list of people that are extremely well connected that keep building these bunkers, they're not all on one side. People have this image of people that build bunkers as crazy uh, right wing, extreme people or something. These are liberals. These are Democrats. These are Republicans. These are foreign nation, rich techies that have no political alignment, and they're all doing the same thing. It's like, why would they be prepping if there's nothing coming? I'm sorry. It's like everyone got a memo, but that memo was not CC'd to the rest of the poor people. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do I think that the world is going to end via a nuclear, exchange, a MAD? No, I don't. Is it a possibility? I'm sure it is, but that's very tiny on the list. On my personal list, I think it would be grid down, cyber attack, conventional war, drone warfare, electronic warfare, cyber warfare, and then physical warfare, and maybe some tactical nukes, sprinkled on like salt and pepper. But I don't think this is the end of the world. It's the beginning of the new one. And I think most of you agree with that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Nickelwise says, again, I love the chat and thank the mods. Hey, thank you, Nickelwise. And thank you for being a member for 10 months. NJM, should I move to South Dakota? Is it safe? NJM, by the way, I did answer this already, but who knows where is going to be safe? And I don't think you're going to want it to take an answer from anybody on that. I think you got to look at your personal scenario and really think about it. Because I did think about this overnight. As far as, if anybody asks anybody, where would be safe? None of us know. That's the scary part. These guys know where is safe. The extremely rich and powerful, they know where is going to be safe. So I guess one clue we could take is, where are they going? Why is Zuckerberg building his bunker on Hawaii? That's one thing I think about. Like, why Hawaii? Couldn't Hawaii be hit by a tsunami and be underwater? Your air filtration system doesn't do very well if you're underwater. Or is Hawaii going to be some huge mountainous region with farm fields around it after some big shift of the world? You never know. Why is Mr. Gates buying up very certain plots of land that line up with certain maps that have been out for a very, very long time? It's kind of like, where is going to be safe? What is the event? Nobody knows. But one thing we can do is we can have a basic plan and basic prep. Dex, now Putin says he's going to redeploy troops along the Finland border in response to the NATO accession. Yeah, this is, obviously he put a red line there, and then, like every other time, we've crossed it.
Yeah, certainly. So as more stuff comes out of that interview, he basically said, look, we had great relations with Finland. They were, as he said, this is his quote, simply perfect. We did not have a single claim against each other, especially territorial, not to mention other areas. We didn't even have troops. We removed all troops from there, from the Russian-Finnish border, he said. However, it's up to them to decide. That's what they decided, but we didn't have troops there, but now we will. So he is saying that they're going to be pushing troops or putting troops up along the border now against Finland starting in April. Or as soon as possible, obviously, especially with the exercises that are going on with NATO in that area, and how they have now started to use Finland territory, Sweden territory, etc., to conduct these large-scale exercises.
Sorry, guys, I just sneezed. I'm so glad I muted it. You guys would have been absolutely deafened by that because it came out of nowhere. Oh, man, I have not sneezed like that since I was like 4. Like, gosh, what the heck was that? I think luckily it was muted. My head hit the mic. It was like extreme. It's probably on a terror list or something. That was crazy. Russians warned to flee border cities while they still can. So going back to I'm still, you can tell I'm puzzled by the whole U.S. Embassy warning to Americans saying that the 48 hours imminent attack. Well, where's the imminent attack? It's been, I don't know, 96 hours, 110 hours, whatever 5 days, 6 days since, 7 days since, and still nothing. Actually, it was last Friday, right? But now, again, other things are happening. Like Russians are warned to stay away from uh, certain areas. Now, it says the anti-Kremlin Russian fighters have begun urging their fellow citizens to abandon their homes in the Belgorod and Kirkuk regions as part of a militant campaign aimed at ending the conflict in Ukraine. The group, made up of 3 different battalions known as the Freedom of Russia Legion, the Russian Volunteer Corps, and the Siberian Battalion, issued a statement Wednesday warning that it would be attacking shortly, urging Russians to evacuate. Huh. I guess they're going to telegraph everything, right? Putin's killers are carrying out massive attacks on peaceful UKR cities, setting up their positions between your homes, your children's schools, and government institutions. Every day, dozens of ordinary innocent people, mostly women and children, perish from shelling from Belgorod. That's the quote. The statement said, "In this regard, we are forced to inflict fire on military positions located in the cities of Belgorod and Kirkuk." It says the shelling of UKR from a territory of Belgorod must stop, the groups added. The warning comes after the group vowed to take matters into their own hands in trying to combat Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The pro-Ukraine Russians group, which Kiev said are not operating on orders from the UKR government, earlier claimed to have taken over the Kirkuk village of Tykino and reportedly targeted 3 different locations in Belgorod. Moscow has claimed it successfully fought off the militant groups. Russian President Vladimir Putin addressed the incursions in an interview with Russian propagandist Dmitry Kislov, of part of this interview that just happened, accusing Ukraine of directing the attacks as part of an effort to achieve any wins against Russia. So basically, at any cost, they're going to get some sort of thing that they can win and brag about. Everyone I've talked to, including somebody who is higher ranking, not like admiral, but somebody who is involved and was just over there, over near it, they said that Ukraine is definitely losing. And this is going to be, in the near future, you're going to see, of course, everybody is understanding it now. Our community and all of my peers have said this for like 2 years. I said it when Russia was sending these old weapons in with conscripts. I said, I think they really are not, giving their big stuff yet, and they're just playing with them. And now, after all this time, billions and billions of dollars, they're no closer to gaining back all of this stuff, and they've lost land. They keep losing. And what happens when they just run out of support? Well, that's the big question here. The same person I talked to said that they didn't think Russia wants the western side of Ukraine. He thinks that they just want the Russian-speaking enclaves or the oblasts that speak Russian. So, because I said, well, do you think that they'll just go right through to Moldova? And then said he thought no, well, because they don't even want to go that far. They just want to go here. And if something goes on in NATO, this person believes that it's going to be because of some actions that we or somebody else in NATO takes. That's the only way that they'll end up actually in a fight with NATO. Now, that's just one opinion of many, but it actually made sense. And their opinion was based off of some personal firsthand knowledge of things. So I thought it was very interesting, to say the very least, because we've talked about Moldova a lot, and we've told you it looks like from all of the Ganda that's coming out that Moldova and Romania will be next, right? We never said that they would invade that, but that's what they're portraying. He disagrees. He doesn't think that Putin wants all that, but he does believe that Putin is going to beat Ukraine, and that this is all part of something way bigger. So as far as the creepy factor, all of this seems like it's just going along a script, and it's just going to keep going. And then, yeah, but Dex, as far as they're telling them to flee these border cities. Now, this is the same group that we talked about says that, isn't this the same, one of the groups that of the 3 mentioned, wasn't that the same group that said that they would march on Moscow?
Yes, it is. It's one of those groups. Now, I mean, so here's the crazy thing: is there really three groups acting on their own, and UKR has no control of them, and Russia has no control of them, but then they're performing their own actions? I mean, that just adds a whole nother layer to the challenge there. It's not the same as say Prigozhin marching with his troops up and through, because they started a real march. But I don't know. We'll see. It seems it seems a little fluff and you know chest beating to me. I don't know if it's really going to be as big as they make it out to be.
It seems like they're trying to put this image out of the people have spoken and the people are rising up against Russia because that Russia's so bad. That's the image that I see when you see these three militia groups all standing up there. We don't answer to anyone. We answer to the people, kind of thing. But who knows? Maybe it's legit. Before we move on, a reminder, with all of our adversaries owning EMPs and teaming up, this is one of the most likely scenarios as far as an EMP strike or a CME hitting. A CME is actually guaranteed to happen at some point. Go over and check it out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. You can actually get protection against not only an electromagnetic pulse attack and multiple, you can actually get protected against a solar event like a Carrington level event from the sun. This is easily wired into your car, truck, or motorcycle, boat, generators, ham radios, or even your home, and it will ground the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your device. Go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF to get a $50 off discount and support our independent channel. More so, though, make sure to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, we know that a huge chunk of you are not. It would be very much appreciated if you do. We don't know if it will kickstart being recommended to others, but that's one big thing. We just need to reach more people. So if you can just share us out with somebody, a friend or family member, that would be really appreciated. So thank you guys. We have no idea what their secret rating system says and all of that. But we do know that when you share us out, that is unstoppable. So thank you guys. And then the House passes the bill that could ban TikTok. Now, I saw a lot of confusion today. A lot of people said, oh my gosh, TikTok's banned. It still has to go to Senate, and then it has to be signed by the president. But even TikTok has come out and said this will lead to a ban of TikTok. They're talking like they have back-end knowledge of this and that this is pre-planned in the beginning. Like it's already going through. Like this has been talked about. They may know what was in that classified briefing. Maybe they feel guilty and they're saying that. I don't know. But the TikTok statement on their official TikTok video is all over Twitter of the gentleman who represents TikTok, did a video basically saying this will lead to a ban of TikTok in the United States. The timing couldn't be better, right? With the November and of course, the events going on in the Middle East, which TikTok heavily supports one side. It's very odd. Go ahead, Dex.
I have a slightly different interpretation of the TikTok leadership and putting out that video. Since it's going to the Senate, I think what they're trying to say in doing that is that they're not willing to sell it. They're willing to let it be banned. In other words, it could survive if they just sold it off or allowed another company to own it. But by them saying it will lead to a ban, they're saying we're gonna forego that and we're gonna let you ban it. And that's sort of because I think maybe a lot of the people thought that by passing this bill, they would just get them to another company to buy them, one of the big tech companies or some other company.
So that's kind of even more shady, right? If they are saying that, yeah, we're not going to sell it. So basically, if we're not running it, then nobody is. Am I?
Well, and they don't want to let the skeletons out of the closet that are in there. If they sell it, it's sort of like, remember all the skeletons Elon uncovered when he bought Twitter? They don't want that to happen.
Well, how would they sell it without the ByteDance algorithm? That ByteDance algorithm is, if you have seen any of the documentaries or some of the information on the ByteDance algorithm, it's one of the most powerful algorithms in the world. It's a scary, addictive algorithm. It is extremely good. And I didn't know, because I tried TikTok in the first 6 months that it was out. I even I tried doing stuff over there. I did like 1 or 2 videos, and this was before all of the rumors about what it was and what it, everything that was going on with it. Looking back, a lot of people that I started alongside me, they actually grew really fast. They got a big following. Like I said, I know people that have millions of followers on there. They don't make a single cent from that thing, so I don't understand how that even works over there. But as far as back when I was using it, I know that my wife got suggested things that weren't set on the phone, weren't typed in. There was stuff, we know that Google has ads that pop up and stuff like that, and everybody believes, they are listening. But this app, I really do believe that their algorithm was so good that it would take search things from other apps, from other things, and it would actually predict what you were thinking. I think that that app is predicting what you want to see, and it's so good at it that's why it's so addicting. When you keep swiping, it's always going to grab you and keep you. I mean, it's what every social media platform's trying to do. They did. That's why it blew up so big. It's why it succeeded where all of these other apps did not. It's algorithm. It's why people complain about the other video platforms. A lot of the other competing video platforms do not have an algorithm. Their staff, the very small staff on many of these other platforms, even we're on, they handpick who is put where. And I have not seen it succeed yet. I have not seen it, beat any of the big algorithm-based ones out. And all of us here, like, nobody here really loves algorithms by these big corporations. But can a platform like that succeed without it? This one, the TikTok one, that one's insane. Dex, go ahead.
That algorithm, you could think of it very much like a top secret classified either Chinese intelligence or military intelligence capability. That's pretty much how you have to sort of envision that thing. That's why they don't want it out. They are using it on the US. They are testing it on the US. They are developing it on the US. And if we're going to make them take it away, they're not going to give it to another company or for any price, because that is their secret sauce to how they are controlling mass amounts of people, programming them and or taking information from them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a state secret. So would they give that up? Would they be able to sell the IP and all of that without having the algorithm included? Like, hey, we'll sell you the company, but you'll have to come up with your own algorithm. What's the point at that point? I don't know. Maybe they could. Maybe some platform that already has their own algorithm could then insert theirs, like the Tube. You would see something crazy like YouTube buys TikTok or something. That would be insane.
It could be what's called an asset sale, where they would sell off all of the users and all of the users' data, meaning like all the videos that they've produced. So somebody would, basically what you just said, they could buy it all, incorporate it in to their system, whether it be Twitter or YouTube, and then it would be Twitter's or YouTube's algorithm that would serve up the existing content that's already been produced.
And people really don't care that we are just assets to these companies. I mean, everybody's talked about barcodes, and now you even see people that get barcodes tattooed, whether it's for positive symbolism, like they're trying to say, like, oh, it's part of the system. But we are just like a UPC number to these corporations. We are literally just a number. We're just a data point to them. We're just a speck of dust on their radar. And to some, we're just pieces of garbage that they accidentally step on when they walk outside their home. If they walk, they're probably carried by elephants or something, At least some of those tech billionaires are. Let's hear. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Genius by Birth. Thank you for your support this week. Thank you over on DLive. We've got a lot of great people over there already. One on B, Kimbria, Immortal AI. Thank you, Poco Loco. And of course, thank you, Lord Malphus, Rooster Cogburn, Joel Villigad. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And then Darren, thank you for subscribing. Billings, thank you for subscribing. The Terrible Truth. Let's see here. Number of consecutive days my eyes have poured out tears over Jesus' pain and agony over the souls on earth. Terrible Truth. Again, C's Strong, H423. Terrible Truth, thank you, but I'm assuming may have been a mistake there. Either way, let me know. Thank you for your support. Again, thank you, Terrible Truth. And then, what is Strong's H423? Agony for souls on earth. See Strong's H423. Dex, I don't know if you can check out that comment, but they may need help as well. And then Wings and Wags Patriot. Everything, including TikTok, can be used for both good and evil. It depends on who has control of it. Thank you, Wings and Wags Patriot. Terrible Truth, thank you, though. One thing I want to say is thank you for being here for a long time now. And then Stevens, thank you as well for becoming a member. And thank you for sticking around for years now. I really do appreciate that. And Sarah, thank you for subscribing. And now we'll go over to Pentagon sends anti-terrorism Marines to Haiti to beef up security at the U.S. Embassy with the country on the brink of civil conflict. Now, the other day we were talking about how there's a lot of scary things that people are talking about, refugees coming from the country. Technically, very few of the people over there have people on the menu. Some do even voodoo, right? But that's not the whole of the people. But that's what some media and some people have put out there. And it's scaring the crap out of certain people. They're like, oh my gosh, refugees that may have, consumed people or something are coming here. I wouldn't be so scared about that so much. I would be more concerned, like, what is the motivation? What is really going on in Haiti? What is the real motivation of all of this stuff that's going on there? You almost can assume that there's some 3-letter agency that's involved with all of this. But it's just getting nuts. And then Dex, do you want to talk about how we're apparently sending anti-T Marines to Haiti? I guess they're specially trained Marines?
Yeah, they are. So the U.S. Marines sent that unit. It's been sent there to beef up the security at the embassy. This was 24 hours after the prime minister announced his resignation. The elite team was dispatched as a gang violence continued to cause bedlam. As we've been covering, we'll continue to cover this because it's pretty much just an absolute chaos. 80% or more of the capital now is under control of the organized crime, the gang members there. So the heavily armed gangs has been fighting with cops and soldiers. They tried to seize the airport numerous times. The U.S. Southern Command said the fleet of anti-T security team known as FAST was deployed to the embassy in Port-au-Prince there. So they are there helping. And then, of course, there was we talked about this the other day, yesterday, I believe it was, there was the urgent meeting that happened in Jamaica with Blinken and some other leaders. And I think the former prime minister phoned in from Puerto Rico, I believe is where he left here. He's not even there. He can't set foot back in the country.
Somebody says the economics does commoditize people. Isn't that effed up? Yeah, I mean, we're just data points, everybody. We are literal data points. We're age brackets. We're a bunch of boxes checked on something. We're not real people to them. We're UPC codes. Even like if you look at the back end, like your phone number at a Safeway or something for your discount, you're just a number. You're just a data point. They don't care about that. Michigan Lifestyle says you don't hear anything on that on the news. Yeah, well, it depends on what country. Some of the countries are covering it. But isn't it weird? You see how worldwide coverage, if it's sensitive in one country, they'll cover it all over the world, but they won't cover it in that country. But then the next week, something that is sensitive in another country, that country that didn't share that one story will be covering something about the other countries. That's why if you have looked at our sources on our page, the bibliography, we look worldwide. We actually have a checklist of all sorts of places that we look, even like checking RT, checking China Global News for their Ganda that's coming out, looking at India news, looking at Australian news, looking at New Zealand news, you have to look all over the world to really kind of gather anything at this point, because there is such a connection between the world now that it's very hard. You have to you have to basically cast out a bigger net to find the truth. Because if you just get it from one place, you're dealing with the filters of that country, and the rest of the world's information is going through a filter of that government. But different governments have, say, lax rules compared to heavy rules, compared to communist nations, compared to this. And then you look at all of the viewpoints of all of these different countries, and you can get closer to the truth. So again, very useful. Go over to our website, marfooglenews.com. Use our bibliography. It's an incredibly powerful tool for looking back through time, too. It's all archived and searchable on the website. Let's see here. And then Florida. DeSantis sends soldiers aircraft to protect Florida from immigrant boats amid the Haiti unrest. Seems like it's kind of starting. And we were just talking about Florida man. I'm sure they're going to say Florida man protects nation, right? Dex, you're very familiar with Florida. You've been there many times. You're in Georgia, so I'm not familiar with how it works down on this. I've only been to the intercoastal to Fort Lauderdale, so I don't know the whole place. But
Well, that's nearby. That's nearby where a lot of this is going to pretty much go down. So
really,
yeah, Fort Lauderdale is just north of Miami. Miami is where we talked yesterday that they said, hey, Customs Border Patrol needed to beef up and get prepared for this. Well, it's such a big deal. They're expecting boatloads of people to be coming across. It's not a very long distance, and they'll probably pack into boats, kind of like you see in the photograph here on this article. But they took it to the next level with the governor announcing that he's sending 250 additional soldiers and officers, as well as aircraft and boats, to actually protect the state from the vessels carrying illegal immigrants from Haiti. So it is an issue. There's Florida has a large Haitian community. A lot of people have immigrated from Haiti to Florida and probably other locations in the U.S., but there is a very big one in Florida. So it would be an ideal hotspot for other immigrants to head that direction because of the proximity, as well as because of the support that would be there, the community that's there. So that's why they're beefing up. I think it's going to be very difficult, though, for them to just turn these folks around, given the state of affairs back in their country. They're all trying to get away from, the absolute chaos that's going down, which is why somebody's going to be stepping in soon to clean up that mess and bring some order to the country. I don't know if it'll be the U.S. or one of our allies, or it wouldn't surprise me if somebody used this as an opportunity to step in from outside, whether it be China or another one of their BRICS members, sneaking in and trying to create some semblance of order to get a foothold. Not that I don't really think China's going to roll into Haiti, but something along those lines.
well, you don't know what to expect at this point. At this point, we don't. But and they, if it is as bad as they say, then they'll have a good argument for asylum. And that's why you hear people on Twitter and people talking about how they're afraid that all of these bad people are coming over and that they will end up getting asylum. I'm sure it's a small mix of those people are the really bad ones, but what is actually happening? Who is really, somebody said 3-letter agencies. Yeah, but why? We'll never know. Like, we won't know until 50 years later down the road. It's declassified what happened there.
I mean, Venezuela or China or somebody could even go in and pay off all those gang members to grab control, right? I mean, imagine, and then what is it worth to them to have that island,
Yeah,
have massive influence?
the geopolitical strategy of having it. Dex, what is going on with this? China's police officers invited to patrol NATO members' streets.
Well, it started. So we talked about this interesting meeting that happened with China and Hungary before Hungary approved Sweden into NATO. We were like, why are they having this meeting? Well, apparently now that they had that meeting was a precursor. Now they're actually moving forward with it. They're going to be using police from China to help police their streets. So China came in with an offer, a security offer to help operate police stations, and they do this in lots of other countries. It's a security package, if you want to think of it that way, and it gives them a foothold into those countries. So Hungary is taking this up as a part of a partnership and expansion with China. Yet Hungary is in NATO, and China is an adversary to NATO. So talk about major conflict of interest. Doesn't even the right word here. It's just it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and Hungary, of course, the same one that gave trouble for different countries to get into NATO. It's very shady. Something seems off about all of it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. By the way, let's take a second out. Let's do a roll call. Where are you from? Just a general state or province, and then make sure to also say hello to all of our wonderful mods. We have great people in the chat right now. Let's see here. Thank you, Randy Man, for being here. Dangerous Dax, what is going on? Steve Blue from Tasmania. Thank you. Susie Cat, London, UK. Enough already. Jacksonville, Florida. David Holston. We have some bad lieutenant. What is happening? We have Steve-O Peacock from Utah. We have USA, CMG. Kurt Barksdale. Let's go. Salem, Oregon, Angelo Perfelli. 5:20 a.m. in Scotland, says Susie Cat. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you from Scotland. Just curious, how did you find us being in Scotland? Like, how did you end up finding my channel in Scotland? I'm always curious when people from NZ and Australia and like, was it recommended? Like, it must have been from a long time ago. And then Alabama, thank you. Fort William, Texas, says I'm not telling. I'll just take a guess. You're from California. Did I get it right? Fort William, Texas, California? Okay. Washington State, Naomi. Aloha from Hawaii, says R. Rishi. Hey, nice to see you. Rambo's Granny. Long-time folks here. Wide Awake and Angry from Pennsylvania. Gemcat, Wide Awake, thank you for being here. I have so many awesome people from Pennsylvania, so many awesome people from Florida. Really great people. Missouri, Ohio. I haven't seen in Ohio yet, actually, but I know you're here. Badger 1 is communist state of Pennsylvania. And then the world is watching. Neil McLean. Obsidian Survival. Hey, nice to see you. Still in California, San Jose today. Are you like visiting somebody or traveling for a job or something? That's very cool. San Jose, a lot of great people there too. Ohio here. Nice to see you. Ohio. I guess I offend the other Ohioans because they're not fans. But pretty funny. PI. Let's see here. A lot of Texans here. Yeah. Lots and lots of Texans. Thank you guys. And we have probably a huge chunk of Texans here that obviously are watching all of this stuff with the southern border, and obviously it's a huge issue, a lot more when you're affected by it personally. Before we move on, make sure to go check out My Patriot Supply. If you're looking for an affordable way to do freeze-dried food, if you have a big family, the reason why we've picked My Patriot Supply for this bracket is it is bulk survival food. You can get a month or a 3-month supply at a huge discount with our code. So that is definitely the best way to do it. If you are going to do freeze-dried food, highly recommend. There's I know a lot of people that just don't even use or even try to look for discount codes. This website, it automatically gets you a huge discount on either the 1 month or the 3 month, depending on the timing of when you watch the show. So make sure to go to marfooglenews.com/prep. That food will last 25 years and you can rotate it in over time. If you end up running out of food or if there's a natural disaster in the next 25 years, you can eat that food and then replace it later. That's what's great about emergency food is obviously you can use it anytime. It doesn't have to be for the end of the world. It doesn't have to be for SHTF. It could be for an earthquake, a hurricane, a flood, whatever it may be, especially how they have it packaged in Mylar bags and then double sealed into buckets. It's it's a very good way to store it, and it's very easy, and it's a very space efficient way to have a bunch of food all in one. I know one of our Foogle fam members has an entire rack of different, not just My Patriot Supply, but other suppliers, and he has all of them in that same type of bucket. Even from other brands, he gets the buckets after he eats some of the food. He'll then put other brands inside those buckets. The buckets are actually very useful in themselves for other things after you empty the food out. So go check them out, marfooglenews.com/prep. It helps us out. We're on our own. So thank you guys for being there for us. And then U.S. intel downplays North Korea full-scale war risks, noting Putin as an influencer, but not like a TikTok influencer that's soon going to be out of their job, more like somebody who they're saying it's possibly in their ear saying, yeah, hey, nuke 'em. Don't worry, we've got you back. Dex, as far as downplaying it, they're basically saying it's nothing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When the intelligence community tells you one thing, you got to think about the other thing.
Don't panic.
Right? Yeah. And that's what's troublesome here. So
We're
the
here to
U.S.
help.
intelligence community, the 3-letter agency, the one that never is going to give you the right answer, is telling us, don't worry. The current assessment is that Kim is unlikely to escalate tensions to a full-scale war on the Korean Peninsula, even as concerns persist over his potential for closer alignment with Russia and the president there to embolden his aggressive actions. So they quote unquote say, we believe that it's clear that he's increasing his provocations in the sense that there is more anxiety about the potential of him taking some sort of military action, including the Northern Line. But our analysis right now is effectively that he will engage in increasing provocation behavior, but he's not interested in escalating into a full-on war. And there is kind of a limit on this. That's what the intelligence community is telling us. They also agreed that he is getting a lot of favor from Putin and a lot of influence from Putin. So that may weigh into this. I don't know. I tend to believe that his actions have been very different this go round than we've seen before. So maybe they're just telling us this to try to, pacify us or change the narrative. But look at his actions have been dramatically different than he has in the past. And some of the things he's done, especially with eliminating the unification and the wide-scale escalations and the massive buildup of military armament, I think those are all strong signs.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the blessies. I tried to mute it too.
Bless you.
I tried to mute it beforehand. Sorry about that. Thank you. Bless you guys too. Thank you. I can't remember what this person said. It was like a couple months ago. I sneezed in a parking lot of the grocery store, and this person said the weirdest word. It wasn't Gesundheit. It wasn't any of like the normal ones. They said something be with you or some weird thing. It was like very culty. It was like it was something super weird. If anybody knows of something that ends with like be with you, and it wasn't Yeshua be with you, or it wasn't like something like that. It was something super disturbingly weird, and it was just such a weird moment. I cannot remember what they said. It wasn't Beelzebub. It was something like something be with you. It was just so weird. Usually you get like a bless you or excuse you or Gesundheit. This person said that it was just so creepy. I'm telling you, I think there's a lot of people that are getting into dark stuff, especially since social media platforms are like making it cool. And then a huge blast kills 2 and injures 26 in northern China. By the way, another weird place to look at from space. Can I just point something out all of a sudden? Look at all the colors mixed in here. Maybe that's just because of the building materials there, right? But if you look at any chunk of houses, it's like a memo went out or something. Is that not freaking? Is that, if anybody who is familiar with construction, tell me why there are so many of certain colors there. Just thought that was interesting. Certain buildings, or is that like a choice that? Well, for instance, like look at that. A lot of the government buildings. I don't know. Just thought that was interesting. Now, as far as somebody said like Section 8 housing and stuff. If I don't know if you've ever seen a assisted living or assisted living, like section. I don't even think they call it Section 8 anymore. But Dex, you know the word I'm looking for.
No, but I have a comment on the roof color.
Okay. Well,
Section 8 is what we call it here, but
Section 8 or affordable housing, you'll see that they'll have multiple color paints on one apartment. And what I was told about that is that the city actually takes paints, and the reason why there's so many multicolored is because they're using extra paints that are over from government projects, from other things, and they get, huge stores of them, and they'll purposely do it multicolored because they have overwhelming numbers of extra cans from one project or another, and that's why they do them multicolored. Is that true? I've always, they always have like 5 different colors on new apartment complexes, and it's really ugly. Have you guys noticed that? It's almost like it kind of tells you, and almost every time it's some sort of affordable living. My mom was on Section 8 when she was alive. Almost every building she was in, she lived in 4 different places, and all of them were that multicolored thing. The whole community, the whole assisted rent apartment complexes. But Dex, so why is that the case?
I found some other observations on it. The most of them are metal roofs, and when they're metal, you seal them, and you need to seal them with paint. And blue pigment or blue paint is the cheapest. It has the less pigment, and it's the most common color of metal produced for metal roofs that come, sealed with a color like that. So, and also, I believe there's zinc in it that's sometimes used to protect steel, and it has a blue tint to it as well. So that is why it is common, and you probably would see it on schools and stuff like that are built around here that have metal roofs on them. You'll typically see that color on them because of it's the default cheap, non-upgraded color you'll get for metal roofing.
Huh. Well, you guys can tell me what you think in the comments down below. And then United Boeing's 777 is forced to land after a fuel leak during takeoff, the fifth safety incident in a week that included the perishing of a whistleblower as airline tells aviation giant to stop making its delayed 737 MAX 10s. So they, again, a 777 was forced to land after a leak of fuel. Now, mind you, we have seen a lot of really weird things. I mean, we've seen social media videos of people on a plane looking out the window, and there's the tip of the engine chunking around and literally spiraling in circle in front of the jet. Have you guys seen that video? It is absolutely terrifying. Dex, have you seen that one? It's, you know how there's a little nub on the front of the engine? That nub came off and it's like on fire. They're looking out the window. Imagine if you're on a regular flight, you're flying to, New York or something, and out your window, you are in that middle seat next to the wing. You're looking at the engine and it's got the tip of the piece of metal this big is just clanking around there, almost as if you put a fork in the garbage disposal. That would be terrifying. Especially like me, I would think right away, I'd go, wait, haven't they said like if they hit a bird and if a bird goes through that thing, we're, basically DEA dead. But a huge chunk of metal, like, oh, that's horrifying. Why does something like that happen? Right? Did it hit a bird and that's what dislodged it? Why are there so many weird accidents? Why are there, it seems like it's an uptick. But is it just me? Is it just because media's been covering it more? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below.
Wheels falling off.
Wheels falling off. Oh, I almost got hit by a mirror.
The landing gear was collapsed on another one. A wheel fall off, hit a car. This one, did you see the picture? You can see the fuel just gushing out the back of the plane. It's in the article. Yeah, they're kind of in a mess right now.
Yeah. And to say the least, if you don't know the story we covered yesterday, there was a guy who said he had serious concerns with the building conditions of all of these planes. He made a formal deposition and he was about to go and testify of some sort. Yeah, they found him. He was not alive. So these are big corporations. They don't mess around. But yeah. I almost got hit with the side mirror but this is a tiny plane, so it wouldn't fit into the same thing. But did I tell that story? I was walking and a little tiny piece of a mirror just dropped right next to me, and it went clank, and I'm like, wait, and I'm like, there's no cars around, and the other guy who was coming out of this gas station, he's like, where did that come from? I seriously thought somebody threw it at me. And then we look at it, we pick it up, realize it's not from a car, another guy, and we were right next to Boeing. We were right by the airfield, and this wasn't a Boeing plane, it was like a private plane. But the other guy goes, that's the little back wing mirror off of a small plane. And we look up and like within seconds, it's over there and we see the little plane. And he ended up telling me he worked at that airfield and he was going to go check and see if anybody knew. But it was like, it could have killed me. If it was a foot over, it would have killed me. It was at least, I don't know, 1,000 feet up or 800 feet up or something, dropping down just a chunk of mirror. It was absolutely wild. And then realizing and then having confirmation that this thing was off the plane that just flew above me, it was absolutely nuts. Wildest thing. I mean, it was by my foot. I thought that the other guy at first said, I thought that dropped out of your pocket. I go, no, I don't just carry around aviation mirrors in my pocket. That was so freaky. I guess I got lucky. I was protected again. And then DC Boeing erased videos of workers fixing Alaska Airlines door plug 6 months before it blew off mid-flight and have no records of the repairs that were done. Dex, like you said, I think they're in a pretty big mess right now.
Yeah, NTSB is kind of at a standstill with being able to make this investigation. They were looking for those videos, and now they've been told, "Oh, apparently we erased them and we don't have them anymore." So how convenient is that, given the fact that they're trying to investigate why this door blew off and what happened?
It's not making you exactly feel very comfortable flying right now. For those of you, I know that there's a few travel nurses here that like you're traveling all the time. Somebody I talked to takes a flight like 3 times a week or something. It's a shorter flight, but it's a big commercial flight that they go to work. I'm thinking, what do you like? I don't like flying in the first place, but flying a lot, especially when all these problems are going up, that's creepy. And then out of Oklahoma, U.S. troops are shooting at balloons to figure out how to beat one of the Ukraine war's most dangerous and unpredictable weapons. So they're actually doing some tests of trying to knock out these drone-carried balloon boom booms. And it says an ordinary pink balloon dangling by a string from a small quadricopter drone shakes violently in the wind as it whips across the hills of southwest Oklahoma. 2 National Guardsmen closely track the movement of the balloon, which is unable to stay even remotely still. One of them steadily raises his rifle to the sky. A few seconds later, a loud bang. Later, the balloon is gone. The balloon wasn't dangerous, but what it represented, a deadly and terrifying threat that has become a defining characteristic of war in Ukraine, and one that the U.S. military is now training to fight against. Small drones with unmanned aircraft systems that can be packed with explosives. Now they're actually taking out the balloon underneath, and I'm thinking, wouldn't they take out the drone? But here's the crazy part too. Are they actually preparing to be fighting regular people with this kind of technology? Are they really preparing for it because of Ukraine? Or is this also a practice for in the homeland? Like if something like this becomes a big deal, could you imagine being in the United States during a civil conflict where how many millions of drones are all over the country that could be turned into these things? Heck, as a drone enthusiast, I think I have like 4 lying around. Just saying, if you're a drone enthusiast, you usually have a whatever drone and then you upgrade to the next one and the next one and the next one. And usually they just turn into junk after that. But to somebody who's, in a conflict of some sort, I guess that could be turned into a very scary thing. Dex, didn't you think it's kind of interesting that they're practicing on this and they're saying it's because of Ukraine. But does that also mean they're practicing to go into Ukraine and help?
Oh, certainly, or just getting prepared for how the evolution of conflict is evolving and what's going to be next. So, this balloon jumping around and moving around to the wind of the quadcopter does give it a much more difficult target to try to hit because it's in constant state of flux. And I think that maybe helps them make it easier to take out, say, the drone itself. They just don't want to just keep wasting drones, obviously. Balloons are cheap.
Well, one thing I thought was interesting, just a little comment in here. This is everybody's fight, Lieutenant Colonel Mosif Soda, the JCU director, told Business Insider in an interview during a recent visit to Fort Sill. This is everybody's fight. Wonder if that was a, kind of an under the breath, like, yeah, this is going to be everybody here soon. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Go check out Jace if you don't have backup medications. This is a great service where you can get not only life-saving medications, including antibiotics, but you can also, there's an extra service depending on what your medication is. They can't do every medication, but a lot of really important daily medications, they can do up to a year of back supply for that, and you can constantly rotate that in. So if you have your normal medication, of course, you can rotate that in, and you can always, of course, keep your regular medication and swap it out as it goes. So you'll always have a year of medication. So again, having a year or even 3 months, somebody said that there's certain medication they could only get up to 3 months. 90 days of your, again, important medication, that's better than not having it. If we have an event where the grid goes down, that means the pharmacies go down. If we have an event where there's a massive hack, like already happened and 30,000 pharmacies went down, then how are you going to get the medications that you depend on? Now, most people go with most people that don't need that. They usually just go for the Jace case, which of course has uh, several antibiotics. It has amoxicillin, stuff like that, and of course you can add on things like albuterol. So there's great things. It's of course telehealth, and you get to talk to a certified a board certified doctor to do it all. So go over to marfooglenews.com/Jace. Make sure to use the code MARF. We added them by request. Many of you were saying, like, we need to be sharing this out. And how do we get this? How do we get backup medications? And how do we do it legally? How do we do it legitly? This is one of the ways. So go to marfooglenews.com/JASE and make sure to use the code MARF. Again, learn more over there. Not all of the stuff could even be mentioned that, of course, they do. So go check it out. marfooglenews.com/Jace. And then out of Japan, a chemical cat at large in Japanese cities. Dex, what?
All right. Well, in Fukuyama, Japan, officials have a warning for everybody, and it is don't touch the cat covered in toxic chemicals. So apparently, they found a feline footprints coming out of this vat of toxic chemicals, and the assumption is that this cat must have fallen in and climbed out, and is now obviously completely covered in these toxic chemicals. And everybody sort of, I wouldn't say looking for it, maybe looking out for it, and hoping that they don't run into this cat. Not something you hear every day, but there's a toxic cat loose in Fukuyama, Japan.
Yeah, there's little kitty prints. So we're gonna get like a 80-foot 80-foot Godzilla kitty, a kaiju kitty. Apparently, it's somewhat dangerous kitty cat. So I guess keep your eyes peeled. From Australia, Craig Alicious, don't miss Starship Test Flight 3 in just under 7 hours. Probably very early for most, but it is a hell of a show. Keep up the good work, Adam and Dex. One thing I would love to do, Dex, you've already seen one in person, have you not? I think you said you saw one in person. I know.
Not the Starship, but I've seen SpaceX. I've seen numerous SpaceX launches. I saw the Parker, the solar probe.
So Starship is the big one, and it's
yes,
yeah. When they say it's a show, it is pretty crazy. The thing is multiple stories tall. I mean, how tall is that thing? Like 15 stories tall or something? It's like it's not like 300 feet, is it? That would be like 30 stories tall. Let's see here. How
165 feet.
That's 16 stories tall. That's insane. And it's really, really big as far as wise too. So they last time isn't that the one that they could see from Mexico? That was the one we were covering not too long ago.
That's just a Starship. When it's fully loaded with the boosters, I think it's 397 feet. Full stack.
Yeah, so that's like 30 or 40 stories tall. That's insanity. That's a skyscraper taking off. That's like if you watched a skyscraper just launch into the sky. I could see how that's a big show. Thank you, mods. By the way, Ilea, I don't know if I haven't seen you yet, but I hope you're doing better. Ilea was sick. A lot of people are catching something or the other. I've been sneezing my butt off today. Why it was listed 400 feet. It was listed 400 feet on their site. That is insane. Well, again, like Dex said, like with all the stuff, that's nuts. If it's 400 feet on its own, that's as well really nuts. Let's see here. It's in Boca Chica, Texas. It's supposed to launch Starship SpaceX. Elon, fancy rich genius. Because Tesla super genius tech. James Garcia, thank you. Seeking Truth, WTF, Lord Andrew. Let's see here. DGC Weed Nerd. Cheers, everyone. Hey. And thank you for saying thank you to the mods. That was really appreciated. Thank you. She went to bed a while ago. I'm hoping she felt better. Thanks, Jammer. Thank Jammer. Thank Chance. Thank all of the mods that are still hanging out. Appreciate you guys. One on B, Cambria, Immortal AI, and everybody else over on D Live. Thank you. Of course, thank you, Lord Malthus and others who just joined as member. And then Craig Alicious, The Terrible Truth, Wings and Wags Patriot, NGM, Stephanie Cook, and Trilicit. Thank you. Dex, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. We'll see you over on Jams. You'll be ported over if you stay in the chat. So if you keep talking to your friends, you're going to keep talking to your friends.
I watched as our names turned into numbers. I watched as our world burned down.